Hello, and welcome to the Let Them Live podcast. I'm Emily Burning, your host, and also the president and co founder of Let Them Live. We bring you interviews with unsung heroes and inspiring individuals who are in the fight to save babies, mothers, and fathers from abortion. Our goal is to amplify their voices and bring their stories to the forefront, shedding light on the incredible work they do and the lives they touch. This is more than just a podcast. It's a platform that allows everyone to share their pro-life stories and inspire us to passionately continue advocating for life. Welcome back to another episode of the Let Them Live podcast. I am so excited today to be interviewing Diamond. And this is just going to be such a special interview because Diamond is not only one of the Let Them Live moms, but she, went through the program and now works for Let Them Live. And she and I have become close friends and really just a huge blessing. So I'm excited to have her tell everybody more about her story. So thanks for joining me, Diamond.
Thank you for having me.
So what was the motivation for you to, do this podcast and share your story?
Well, I just want to share my journey with other young moms or other moms in general who are like in a similar situation that I was in, just to be able to give them that encouragement and motivation to let them know that, they're not alone, because I had that, with my journey with Let Them Live. So I just want to share that with other people.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And, something I've told you and I've told other people too is when you are a woman that's in a crisis pregnancy, sometimes it helps to hear from someone else that has been in the same or similar situation, just so they can feel like they're being related to and there's someone else that has been through it and not only has been through it, but like you are a perfect example of how you came out on the other side, even better than before. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Maybe talk about your reaction when you became pregnant and kind of the situation that you were in, and then how far you've come since.
Okay, yeah, of course. So just to give you, before I dive into my story, I'll just tell you a little bit about I guess how it all started. But I had just graduated from college and I had moved back to my hometown in Daytona, just to work until graduate school is going to start that fall. I graduated 2 years early just because I was in the accelerated program. So the plan for me was just to come back here and work, and then that fall go for my master's. But just before then, I think 2 months prior, that's when I found out that I was pregnant. And when I told my daughter's dad about the pregnancy, he definitely had a really horrible reaction, like words that I can't even say right now on this podcast. So it was really hurtful to just hear those things and saying that I should just focus on school, and he couldn't afford to feed another mouth. And so any excitement that I did have, it went out the window, because I just started thinking okay, I did just graduate from college and I'm working as a direct support professional and I'm not getting paid much, and I don't have a lot of money to take care of a child. And really started self-doubting myself and listening to what her dad was telling me at that time, and I really just thought that I could not do it. And so after my phone call that I had with him, it was on a Monday and I had to work that day. So I'm sitting in the car crying, and I got after I got off the phone with him, I just started praying. I'm like, God, I really don't know what to do. I don't have anything. I'm still a student. I don't know. And I have the father telling me that he wants no parts and wanted to take me to Parent Parenthood literally the same day that I found out. He was reaching out to Parent Parenthoods in Orlando, calling them and seeing when the next appointment was. So, it was very devastating. But after my prayer, I actually went on Instagram and I typed in pro choice, and that's when Let Them Live popped up. And I didn't know anything about Let Them Live or really a lot about pro life or pro choice. And so once I just typed that in, Let Them Live popped up. So I clicked on the profile and I was like, let me just send them a message because I need someone to talk to right now. And I didn't tell any of my family or anyone. He was the only one that knew. So I went on their page and I just DM them and I said, I really need someone to talk to. And I got a response just like this and was in touch with the pregnancy counselor. And so it's definitely been such a beautiful journey. Like it's not, it hasn't always been easy, but I'm so grateful for even the hardships because I feel like it helped me become the woman that I am today. And so I will never forget, talking on the phone with my pregnancy counselor, and she was really encouraging, and I was still just stuck. I'm like, but you don't even know like what I'm going through, or how I grew up, and my financial stance right now is not good, so I don't know what to do. And like I will never forget her words, and it always stuck with me because I was like, you don't know what it feels like you didn't grow up how I grew up and things like that. But she was like, well, Diamond, I know that I have never been in your shoes. Yes, we did come from two different backgrounds, but what I do know is that we can help you, we care about you, we love you, and we're here to support you and your child. And those words really were life changing for me, because I was like stepping out on faith. Like I had no idea like who Let Them Live was, or really who my pregnancy counselor was either. But I just took that faith, and I chose life for my daughter. And I remember telling her dad that I am having this baby with or without you. And that was definitely difficult because he really didn't come around to my second trimester. So I was going to my appointments by myself, but luckily I had like my pregnancy counselor on FaceTime with me. So that was really cool. And my family, like my mom and my grandma, they were very supportive throughout this whole journey.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
always love hearing your story again because I've heard it so many times, but I just get something new out of it every time. And, I remember when, all of this happened, this was like, earlier on in Let Them Live. And I remember like, your pregnancy counselor sending me the videos that you would take of like your ultrasound or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And now, to see Mila, she's 2 years old, like it's just crazy. And her attitude and her sass, like it's just so funny to see her. And she's just like the sweetest girl. And you were so brave in that moment, when you told her dad, you were like, I'm having this baby, you whether you're involved or not. And that takes a serious amount of like inner strength to do that. And I'm just so proud that you did that. And I'm sure that you are too. Like there's no regrets.
Yes, and I forgot to mention, I know you had asked me like what was my reaction when I found out that I was pregnant, but this is really funny. This is really funny to me, but I did not I was expecting my cycle. I'm like, where in the world is it? Like I was on the calendar like trying to track it. I'm like, where is it? And it was 6 in the morning that same day that I found out, and I went to Walmart and I got a pregnancy test and I came back. I took it and I was just like waiting and I saw it said pregnant. I said, what? I said, what? And I thought that I was dreaming. So I went back in the room. I had the test and I put it in my suitcase and put clothes on top of it. And I'm like, I went back to sleep because I'm like, this can't be real. Like, what? And
You're
so
like, I'm
when
gonna
I woke
hide it away. And if
yes,
it's still there when I wake back up, then it's real.
yes. And when I got back up, I saw that suitcase right by my bed. I'm like, okay, this indeed was not a dream. Like, this is
Oh,
serious.
that's so funny. No, that's actually like the funniest like pregnancy test story I've ever heard because you're like, I'm gonna hide it away in a
Yes.
very specific location. Oh my gosh. So when you told your family, when you told your mom and your grandma, like what was their reaction when you were like, hey, I'm pregnant?
Listen, my mom, I feel she had discernment, like she already knew because I don't know if it was how I was acting or it's like a mom always knows something. So one day it was I'm trying to think. It had to be a couple weeks later, and she just straight out asked me like, "Diamond, are you pregnant?" And I'm like, "What?"
You're like starting to stutter, like what do you
I
mean?
said, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And it was just random, but she said she already knew. I guess it was because how I was acting, or just being distant. But like she knew. She was disappointed in me, but she said that she was gonna be with me, like stick by my side throughout the whole thing. She just wanted better for me and not to go down the path that she went through, like, being a single mom. She was disappointed, she said, but she still loved me. And that was really hard hearing. Like, you don't ever want to hear your like parents say that they're disappointed in you.
They're
Like,
just it's like better for them to be just like straight up mad at you than
yeah,
disappointed.
no, for real, like, I was boohoo crying, and, but my grandma, when I told her, she thought I was joking at first, and then when she really found out that, it was real, she was very comforting, and, she prayed with me. I, like, told her everything that was going on with the dad, and my grandma just really prayed over with me, so
That's
it was
amazing.
awesome.
Well, it's amazing to have that support, and that's something I've realized with, a lot of the moms that we work with, when that support system, when that, safety net of people that just love you, even if they may be disappointed, they still love you, that unconditional
Right?
love.
Tears coming
You
out
know,
my eyes.
when that's not there, that can put even more pressure on someone, to have an abortion. So it's amazing that, you may not have gotten the reaction you wanted from the father of the baby, but you did get the support from your family, which is
Mhm.
absolutely amazing. What was your pregnancy journey like? Like, was it like, okay, I'm doing this and you were set on it? Or did you still have times of doubt throughout your pregnancy? Like, how was the actual pregnancy itself?
Well, I had a lot of morning sickness with Mila, and I remember I could not eat anything because I just threw it all up. Even drinking just made me just nauseous. So I was on Zofran for a little bit, and then I was doing research on the medicine, so then I stopped taking it. So it was really hard, but I went to work every day because I was like, I have to make it happen. Just preparing for when she arrived. And it was definitely like a different journey for me because, like I said, I was expecting to go back to school. And then I did enroll for online, but just being sick all the time and I was working full time, I said, right now is just not the time for me. But, in the beginning, the first trimester was very difficult. Like,
But you push through, and something I love about you, Diamond, and I tell you this, but I want to tell everybody, and this is something I really admire about you, is you are someone that wants to take things to the next level. Like, you're not okay with just, okay, like, oh, it's fine where it's at. You always want to make your life better. You want to make Mila's life better. You can see the hard work and dedication that you have. I mean, you're in your master's program right now, which is absolutely amazing. And you
mm,
totally defy the argument that some people make that, oh, you can't be a mom and, finish your degrees or pursue higher education or have a career. You just constantly defy these things and you refuse to just accept mediocrity. And that's something that I really admire in you is you just have this spirit and you want to make life better for your daughter. And that's something that I think every single mom should just copy off of you.
yeah. Once you become a mom, everything changes. And I remember when I held Mila in my hands. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this tiny human like dependent on me. And so it's just, I turn into, I call it like the beast mom mode. It's like, I have to make it.
Mama bear.
Yes, there's like absolutely no excuses. And I think I really get my strength from my mom just watching. My mom was a single mom of three. It was three of us, and just seeing her work so hard and barely getting any government assistance, or even when she did, it wasn't enough, but she still made it happen. And so just looking at that, that's like my motivation as well. I know earlier I really didn't touch up on it, but getting the help from Let Them Live, it was very hard for me because I was raised to work hard, to get whatever you want. You like you gotta go out and get it. And so just having an organization and supporters who wanted to support you, like just like that, it meant the world to me. But it was also hard take that. Like, oh my god, like, I didn't know, like, I was like, "Oh my gosh," but it's such a beautiful journey, and I'm just forever grateful for it. Mila, she is 2 years old now, and just she was really my inspiration to get back into school. 'Cause I'm like, "Okay, Diamond, you have a daughter that's dependent on you. She's gonna look up to you, and there's no excuse not to follow my dreams or whatever I wanted to do before I had her, and I could do it. So she's definitely my motivation and to continue to strive in life. And I'm always looking for new ways to improve in my life because I just want to make sure that she's well taken care of and her future is secure as well.
Well,
So
she's loved, that's for sure too. And she's
yes.
honestly so lucky to have you as her mom because you really are the type of person that's like, you make it work, no matter what your circumstances are. And that's a message I'm sure that you want to share with all moms that, maybe single moms, in really bad, tough times that no matter what, despite the circumstances, they can do it. If you put your mind to it and you have the right motivation and the right passion. And I just obviously really, really admire you, Diamond. And I absolutely love Mila. Like I said, this is like the part of Let Them Live that I want people to see, where it's years later, we're still, not even just in contact, but like you and I have great conversations all the time about just whatever personal stuff. I love Mila. Like she is a light in my life. You're a light in my life. And this is how the counselors feel too. Like I've been interviewing counselors and they're telling me, from their side, how much impact the moms have on them. And this is just showing that how true that is. It's just the most amazing thing. And I'm just so, so grateful for you. And now, like, tell me a little bit about and tell everyone a little bit about what you do for Let Them Live now that you work for Let Them Live.
Yeah, so I'm actually an advocate with Let Them Live and the office manager. When I do the advocate position, I reach out to all of our donors, just to personally connect with them, to share my story with them. They share their stories with me, which is like the best part, just to have that personal community, like that personal touch, really, when they get to share their stories with me and just to keep in touch with them. Like it means the world to me. Like I've developed so many personal relationships with the Let Them Live donors. So that's like my favorite part. And I also, when the opportunity comes, I reach out to some of the moms that enter in the program and I get to share my story with them and, encourage them. So it's definitely cool and a blessing. And as my office manager position, I do like the welcome letters, the heartbeat club letters, and just, you know, creating a relationship with the donors. Yeah.
I love this so much. When Nathan and I went to Ukraine, we went like on behalf of Let Them Live, and we went to go learn about a partner organization of ours, Mission to Ukraine, and they help women to choose life because abortion is like pretty rampant in Ukraine. The reason I say this is because when we went to their like headquarters, they would tell us that the majority of people that worked for them or volunteer for them were moms that they helped. And I was like, that's pretty amazing, because who better to advocate for the program itself, to advocate for the organization than someone who has been through it, but also who better to reach out to when, there is a mom that just needs that extra little encouragement from someone who's been through it themselves. And that's what I really, really love. And I'm so glad that you're helping us out because we definitely need it. And, I'm really glad that Let Them Live has been able to provide the opportunity for you for, I'm guessing like it's pretty flexible, with your schedule and that type of thing. So,
Yes, absolutely.
oh my gosh, that's amazing. So, one last thing, or a couple last things, maybe. What would be something that you would want to say to other moms who, are considering abortion or who are in the same situation that you were in?
I would just really like for them to know that it's going to be okay. Like the situation that you're in right now is not going to be the same situation like 6 months later or 9 months later or when your baby arrives. Like everything that took place in my pregnancy, like all the negative emotions that I had and just going through with her dad. Once I had my baby and I held her in my arms, it's like everything just it canceled out. Like I had a little tiny baby in my hand. And so I just want to encourage all of the moms that it's going to be okay. Your circumstance, I know how it feels to, to have that loneliness and self doubt that you can't do it. But like I am a testimony because I'm doing it myself. Like it's not always going to be easy, but the hardships is what develop our personal strength and our development in our lives. And just want to encourage each and every one that it's definitely going to be okay. And you're strong than you realize because I didn't even know the strength that I had until, I had my own child. And it's just such a beautiful blessing. And I would also like to say, don't let the negative people get into your ear and say, well, you can't do this or a baby is going to hold you back. That's absolutely not true. Or they say, well, how will you be able to afford it? It's like, no, like you're going to be okay. There are resources out there that's willing to help you. And it's also up to you to find that strength and that drive and that motivation to go out and get it yourself because that's what I'm doing. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's amazing advice. And just again hearing it from someone who has been through it that it's going to be okay is makes it that much better. And one last question for you is what
yeah.
would you say to people who are pro-choice or who think that abortion's a valid option?
Um, I would say honestly, my first question for them would be when do they think where do they think life started at? Like when does is a heartbeat not a life? Or, just the whole concept is just so confusing to me. And it's just like, how could you really think that? And how is it that you think a woman is not capable of raising her child just because she's in a bad situation right now? But if we have resources that are willing to help the mom and their child, why not do that? Why not give them their voice? And so it's just very discouraging when I do hear like pro-choice people saying, well, she won't be able to support her family, or something that I hear too. I actually heard it like the other day, actually. Well, you work for an organization that only helps like the mom for the first 5 months and after that they're on their own. I'm like, no, that's absolutely not true. We provide whatever the mom needs to, whenever the time that like a different financial plan, like for different moms. But it's like, are you saying that I'm not capable of raising my child just because I was in a bad situation? Like, we can do this. We just need help. It takes a village to raise a child. And it's just really hurtful to hear some of those things because, like, why do you think that we're not capable? Like, that's my whole question. It's really hurtful.
I'm really glad that you brought it up. And that wasn't my last question. Now that you brought that up, I guess, I remember we had talked about this where someone had commented on one of my posts or something, well, are you going to take care of that child for 18 years? And I remember telling you that, and you had the best response to that, to people saying, well, if you're going to force women to give birth or you're going to, cancel this abortion, then are you going to take care of that child for 18 years? And just, it kind of reiterates what you just said, but I remember you told me like how offensive that felt. You wouldn't, as if you wouldn't be able to get out or pull yourself up and get yourself into a better situation and help your child have an amazing life, like you would need someone to just do it for you.
Right. And it's just like no one wants to feel like they're just getting a handout. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I said it was really hard for me to just be in a vulnerable situation and say, okay, like, I need help. Like, that took a lot. Like, just me telling my pregnancy counselor, I do need help. I'm scared to receive it because like, throughout my life, I was always taught that you work for what you want. And just being able to get that support, from this organization, and especially like the counseling, that meant everything to me. So when I do hear other people say like what you just said, it's like No, we are strong. We just need a little bit of help, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help until we can get into a better position.
Absolutely. No, well said. And I think you've definitely given people a better way, a different way of looking at the situation. And I'm just really glad that you were able to hop on and share, your thoughts and your story and everything with us. Is there any last thing that you want to leave before we hop off here?
So just a shout out to you and to Let Them Live and Nathan. I'm just truly grateful literally for everything. Like it means the world to me and to my family. You guys have been such a big blessing and played such a huge role into my life. Like I'm still mind blown about how this whole thing worked. And I just get so teary eyed just thinking about my whole entire journey because when I look back and it feels like it just happened yesterday. Like I'm like, dang, did I just find out yesterday? And I have a whole 2-year old now, and um, I just I'm just truly grateful and thankful. Like words cannot describe it. I just don't. It's just always thank you, and it's just a blessing. Um,
Yeah.
it's just crazy how this whole thing worked out. Like
I
first,
feel the same way. I'm like,
yeah.
what? Like, it just Let Them Live in general, like it doesn't quite feel real, but I will say we're equally as grateful for you for allowing us to be part of your life and part of Mila's life. We just like the greatest joy of our life. So we're gonna start crying here.
I know.
Before we just ruin this whole thing with tears, thank you again for being on, and for sharing. And if you guys want to learn more about Let Them Live, you can always go to letthemlive.org. Go to our social media. Again, like Instagram is very important. As Diamond said, she found us on Instagram. So social media is very important in getting our message out there. And thank you guys again for listening. We will have some more episodes coming up with more moms, more pregnancy counselors, and hopefully some dads who, maybe came around, maybe they were there from the beginning, but lots of good stuff coming up. So thank you again, Diamond.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Let Them Live podcast. I would like to give a special shout out to Patrick at Moonshadow Studios for doing such an amazing job of editing our podcasts. Let Them Live is a Christian nonprofit dedicated to supporting women who are considering abortion primarily due to financial burden. 73% of women have abortions because of financial struggles, and we're here to bridge that gap. Our goal is to provide the emotional and financial support women need to feel empowered to choose life. If our cause resonates with you and you're interested in learning more, getting involved, or making a donation, please visit our website at www.letthemlive.org. One amazing way to contribute is by joining our Heartbeat Club, where you can become a monthly donor, and your ongoing support will ensure we can continue helping women every single month. You can also follow us on social media to stay up to date with all the amazing stories and ways that you can be part of our mission. We are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and Twitter. Just search for @LetThemLiveOrg, and you can also find me on Instagram @EmilyBurning. Thank you once again for joining, and please join us for more upcoming inspiring stories and conversations.
This episode of the Let Them Live podcast was produced for you by Moonshadow Studios. Put your podcast in good hands today and take advantage of our special first-time client discounts by visiting moonshadowstudios.biz or by following us on Instagram and Twitter @Moonshadow Studios.
Hello, this is author, podcaster, and story consultant Britt Mooney, and I have a new book that best-selling author Bill Myers says should be required reading for all Christians. The book is called We Were Reborn for This: The Jesus Model for Living Heaven on Earth. This book will transform your story and help you rediscover your identity and purpose in bringing hope and peace to a broken world of tragedy and chaos. Look for it wherever books are sold.